Hi everybody, it's Kristen. Thanks so much for watching, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to heat adjust your sunglasses using a hairdryer. I'm really excited for this video because it'll really help a lot of people who don't want to spend time, effort, and sometimes money to go to an optician to fix them. So this is a very, very easy and safe fix if you're careful with it, and in the coming minutes I'm going to show you how to do just that. So if you want to know how to do this, please keep watching. Okay, so to reassure you of why we can use a hairdryer, that's because in the optical field, which I have worked in, the tool that they use to heat adjust sunglasses is an appliance that emits heat very much like a hairdryer. It's just shaped like a box, sometimes it's shaped like a hairdryer, but it blows a very, very hot heat, which is probably a lot hotter than the hairdryer you will have, but that allows them to kind of quickly and efficiently get things heated and adjusted so they can help customers get people in and out. So the hairdryer, most people will have this. Hopefully you do. You can snag one from somebody if you don't. But I realize that they're going to all heat at different temperatures and get hotter. Some are going to get hotter than others. So when you're doing any kind of heat adjusting, I recommend just heating for about 30 to 45 seconds to start off with. And you can test for how much you've heated it by, is it just hot on the surface or do you feel like it's heated throughout? And you can also test that by trying to give it a little bend just to see how pliable it is. So before I get started, I do want to throw out just a few disclaimers. The first is that I'm not super certified in anything, and I'm not here trying to advise you to just go like meddling with your sunglasses and stuff like that. I understand that a lot of the people that I may be speaking to and a lot of my subscribers are those who also share my interest in high-end sunglasses, and I don't want to direct you to do something to your sunglasses that would put them at risk of breaking. So I do want to mention that if you're not comfortable with this at all, if it's something that you feel more hesitant than you do confident with, then please don't try that and just go ahead and go to an optometrist and see what they can do for you. If it's a very hard, tough plastic, the thicker the plastic is, generally the harder this is to do, and your hairdryer at home just might not cut it. So if it's something like an original Ray-Ban Wayfarer like the 2140, that's going to take quite a lot of heating. So you might want to go to an optician for that. The next thing is, if you have sunglasses that are made of Optyl, you don't need to try anything on them. Optyl is a patented plastic mainly used by the Safilo group. It's used on a lot of Carrera sunglasses, some Fendi, some Dior's. So it's best to check the inside of the temples, inside here, or your pamphlet that came with your sunglasses to find out whether or not it's made with Optyl, because it's very touchy. If overheated, it can warp, and if underheated, the plastic can snap and break. So you want to avoid doing that. Finally, these adjustments sometimes are not permanent. You may have to do these adjustments several times before it takes, especially if you're just adjusting in the bridge. If it's really thick plastic, you may feel like it's a great fit when you first get done and like you fix the problem, and then the next day they feel just as they did before. And that's because the heat can, once the initial heating wears off, they can actually revert back to their initial curve. So if you have to do this any more than 2 times, I would suggest taking them to an optical place to get it done kind of once and for all, so that you're not continuing to heat them and cool them and heat them and cool them, which could make them more fragile. So having said all that, let's get into the actual tutorial. Okay, so with me right now I have some Ralph Lauren sunglasses. These are the 8116s. I reviewed these in another video. Usually we can adjust the sunglasses in 2 places using heat, or one of 2 places, hopefully most of the time, either in the temples, at the curve of the temples right here, or the bridge. So depending on the issue, that's what's going to determine where we heat. So if your sunglasses, when you put them on, are feeling just entirely too tight, say you're feeling tension here in your temples and it's hurting you, then you know that your bridge actually needs to be opened up or come out. There's no other solution but to open that up. So that's kind of the problem I'm struggling with here, is that these are a little too tight back here, and even though I've adjusted the temples, I'm going to have to now adjust the bridge. So I feel it's a little bit too tight, and it's verging on maybe if I wear them long enough it'll give me a headache, so I'm going to go ahead and start with this. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my hairdryer, apply it to the bridge. grab the front of these using my thumb, and I'm going to push in on the bridge while I use my first 2 fingers on each hand to pull that open. So as you can see here, I'm opening that up. This is not the best angle. I didn't have the equipment to get a good angle on this. But as you can see, I'm putting pressure with my 2 thumbs on the middle of the bridge here, and I'm using the first 2 fingers on each hand to grab the corners and open it up. And you can see the temples opening up. Opening up. I'm also got my pinky and my ring fingers on each hand under the lenses to kind of support that. And I'm going to hold this for about a minute or so. If you want to expedite the process, you can actually hold these under cold running water for about 30 seconds to a minute, and that'll help it set faster. And I would actually highly recommend that if you have a tougher, thicker plastic like I mentioned before. So now that I'm done with that, I'm going to release and let that go and see if that's any more comfortable on my face. And it feels like it is, which is great. We've accomplished that. So if you have the opposite problem and you look at your sunglasses, your frame, and your temples are out like a V, like lickety split, then you're going to need to heat the bridge again, and instead of doing what you did before, you're going to need to pull them inward. So to do that, come from the back side of the sunglasses, put both 2 thumbs on the inside, grab the outer corners of the frame and pull inward, and hold that likewise. So for a temple adjustment, you're going to do the same thing. These are a little bit harder to kind of concentrate the heat on, which is why I have a towel. You can actually put the hairdryer put the temple against the towel and put the hairdryer on top of that. And you want to concentrate the heat onto the bended part there. Bent, the bent part. It's very hard for me to do a tutorial and get any kind of English words correct in this, as you can see. If you want to concentrate it on that. So I'm going to kind of demonstrate, these don't need to be adjusted, and I don't have a pair that does, so I'm going to kind of demonstrate this as best I can without the need to do this. So I'm going to do this for about 30 seconds. So obviously if they're slipping off your head, then they need to come downward and inward a little bit. You don't want them to be straight out and then coming inward as if just like a curve in the road. You want them to be coming downward and inward a little bit. More downward than anything, because the downward curve is what's going to keep them behind your ears and keep them from falling off. So if everything feels comfortable in the front and you didn't need to do any kind of bridge adjustment, it's not too loose or too tight up here, and you feel like it's very comfortable, and that all you feel is that when you look down it's not behind your ears, it's slipping, then that temple adjustment is going to be perfect for that. I'm going to demonstrate really quickly how you want to hold it when you bend. You want to make sure you've got your forefinger underneath and your thumb on the top, and use your other hand to support the rest of the temple, and you just want to bend downward, and you'll feel it going downward. And then do the same thing on the other one. And then you can actually test to see if they're even and level by setting them on a surface. And as long as one temple is not kicking up on one side higher than the other, then you've done a very good and satisfactory job. Likewise, you can also flip them over, and if either one of your 2 sides are not sitting flush with your surface, then you would need to go back and adjust again. Okay, then after that you're all set. One final thing I wanted to mention is that at no point in this should you take your lenses out and do an adjustment and put them back in. I've seen a video, actually several videos, saying that that's fine to do. Some people have popped the lenses out and then done the bridge adjustment and tried to put the lenses back in. Some have succeeded, but please don't try that. It's never a good idea. You could really mess up your lens and your frame. And if at any point when you're doing an adjustment you feel the lens is shifting or they start to protrude and you see the edges of them, then stop what you're doing and hopefully it'll settle back into the frame. If for some strange reason it doesn't, you can take it to an optical place and have them sort that right out. So thank you so much for watching this video that should have been titled How to Take Your Sunglasses to an Optical Place for an Adjustment. I really hope you enjoyed. If you have any comments, I'd love to answer them down below. And in the future I can always make another fact video about adjustments. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to try and guide you. Thanks so much and have a great day.